So let's talk about ecotherapy, however you wanted to describe it. You need to be one with Earth. So how do you become one with Earth? Well, we're going to talk about some simple ways for you to connect and utilize nature as a healing therapy. You're a chiropractor, doc. What in the heck are you talking about this for? Chiropractors believe that there's an innate intelligence in all of us that flows through all of us. That the universal intelligence is out there, that's is around all things and in all things. And innate intelligence is what runs your body to allow it to be intelligent, to keep it healthy. When you're subluxated, when your brain and your body are not connected and not talking, you have a subluxation that interferes with that innate intelligence's ability to heal your body. If you want to connect with the power that's created you, some of that is outside. So let's get more one with it. That's why we're going to talk about this tonight. So what does a nature-based approach to this have to do? Well, number one, we got to introduce you to the science and the benefits of ecotherapy. Ecotherapy is going to have some very simple strategies. I mean, this stuff you're probably even doing just naturally without thinking about it, but we want you to bring the science and understanding of why is this important, how does it affect me. I want you to decide what practices resonate with you and create a plan. We're going to try to help you guys incorporate these things. So let's get into it. The science of nature. There's a chiropractic philosophy. It's called vitalism. Vitalism is what we run in this office. It just means that we're vitalistic beings. We're not mechanistic. We're not just parts and pieces and a mechanical being. There's a vitality, a power that created us. And the amazing thing is that, we can break things down in the lab to all its parts and pieces. We could take you as a human and have every single little part and piece as a human being, but having those all together in a petri dish would not create life. Life is created with a vitalistic force, and that force is outside in nature. Your body runs best when your parasympathetic nervous system is in that resting and digesting mode most of the time. Your parasympathetic system is activated outside. It restores balance within your body in ways that pharmaceuticals, and screens and devices and all these things can't even come close. Nature is a secret sauce that we can utilize and you pay zero for. Your human biology was rooted to be connected to nature. We are electromagnetic beings. Earth is electromagnetic mass. That electricity and that magnetism affect us just like tides can affect the ocean. These things and pulls and forces affect us as human beings. But just being outside has huge benefits. So we are electromagnetic beings in an electromagnetic environment. Be closer to that force. Get outside. It's just not some wellness trend. It's very much evidence-based part of a whole body healing process. This is he's an author, environmentalist. Andy Goldsworth said, we often forget that we are nature. We think, nature's out there. We are nature. We are part of nature. Nature is not something separate from us. When people say we're all one, we're one with our universe, we're one with the world and the earth. So we are not separate from nature. So that's when we say that we've lost our connection to nature. We don't believe we're part of it anymore, but we very much are nature. We've lost our connection to ourselves. When we don't connect with ourselves, isn't that what chiropractors calls a subluxation? Disconnected, right? When our bodies don't understand where we are in space or how well we're moving or what's going on, we are disconnected. It's all about connection. Chiropractic's all about connection. That's why we're talking about this subject. So ecotherapy, simply put, it's intentional time spent in or with the elements of nature. You're intentionally going out into nature to seek to be one with it. There are many ways to do this. There's things called forest bathing, there's green exercise, horticulture, biophilic designs, there's nature-based mindfulness, there's animal-assisted ecotherapy, and then there's conservation. We're going to talk about a handful of these today. So these are our 5 that we're going to focus on, but ultimately you don't have to bathe in the forest, but ultimately it's an immersive, mindful walking or hiking among the trees, really getting out into the trees and walking, hiking. There's plenty of great hiking paths right around here. There's a lot that you can be part of just by being out, even in our local area. Japan in the 1980s called this Shinru Yoku. The activities might include, nature walks, but also hiking, camping. How many people love to just go outside and RV? It's like kind of the best of both worlds. You get to be outside, but then when you need to, you can have a nice warm place, right? But wandering through the wilderness, meditating in the woods, this is all parts of being out in nature. So understanding this even more than I can understand why the trees are so important to this process. But the therapy has been effective in treating cardiovascular problems, immune issues, mood and cognition, anxiety and stress. This is what the research says. In a 2022 study, the analysis showed that the participants had reduced blood pressure, their stress hormones reduced, so your cortisol levels, they slept better. Natural killer cells are your anti-cancer cells. When you take your nervous system and are able to put it in that parasympathetic state and you can reduce your cortisol, your immune system ramps up to its healthy level. When it's not, it's at an unhealthy level. Cancer, in a very simplistic statement, is cells growing out of control. Your body, though, should very much know when cells are going out of control. When your body doesn't know, it's disconnected, your immune system probably is depressed. And so the immune cells that are knocking at the doors and say, hey, is everyone all right in there? How are things going? They aren't knocking. There's not as many soldiers out checking, and bad things happen to your cells. And when it's gone out of control, that is cancer ultimately. So it's been said, we all have cancer every day, but typically the body can get rid of those cells, kill them off, or are somehow recycled. But when those cells are not able to do that, they can start to form more significant cancers that we find out later on, decades maybe or more, that there's something significant. Forest bathing. Green exercise. It's a simple way of going outside and exercise. All right? Get outside and breathe and exercise. Stimulate your heart and your lungs. Of course, you could be hiking, just like we talked about with forest bathing. You could take a 2-for-1, but outside yoga, awesome. Just doing some stretching and moving. Your body needs exercise. It needs to be stimulated. We talked about walking last week. Just doing walks outside are so much better than on a treadmill. I know it's cold in the winter. I know that there's a lot going on, but we have these wonderful things called clothes and hats and gloves and even heated everything anymore. You can still get outside and do these things. It might be only for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. What's the research show about exercising outdoors? When you exercise outdoors versus indoors, it actually boosts mood and self-esteem. It improves your attention. It reduces rumination. Green exercise is shown to quiet the brain's default mode. We talked about kind of jumping from your conscious mind to your subconscious. If you can try to flip that switch or open that trap door to get into your subconscious, it's so much easier when nature is already supporting that. And that's why our brains are in a more quiet default mode when you're outside. You reduce that overthinking, that overwhelm. This is why we get outside to do things. Horticulture. Horticulture is basically growing. When we're growing and caring for plants and appreciating plant life, it gives us an appreciation for life. When you're service to others, you have a more found sense of self-worth. Even doing this for a plant can be hugely therapeutic. It's therapeutic gardening. Cultivating flowers or a vegetable garden in your yard can be hugely beneficial to your mental acuity. Meditative walks through a garden. Now think of the colors and the smells. You get bathed in all your senses outside in the right amounts. We talk about this in a whole nother workshop. I don't know if we'll do it this year, but we call it digital dementia. We talk about kids and screens. Their senses are being overwhelmed in other certain areas with a screen and underwhelmed in others. Nature is the perfect video game or entertainment. Caring for houseplants on the windowsill or herbs, working a community garden plot, all these things are part of that ecotherapy and horticulture. What does it mean to get your hands in the dirt? What does the research really say when you're getting dirty, getting in the dirt? When you are outside and you're gardening, it's been linked to lower levels of depression, improves mood, mental wellness, mobility, dexterity, and strength. Before the turn of the century, before the Industrial Revolution, majority of human beings were farmers. If you're on a farm, there's a really good chance you're getting physical activity all day, every day. Maybe not like you need to go to the gym and run a treadmill activity. It's just a slow, constant physical work. You get strong, you stay strong, you move your joints. We've stopped moving. We've stopped strengthening. And just even maybe a small garden to get you out in there, not only is the benefits of being in nature, but giving some of this mobility, it's a win-win. Cognitive function can be improved while gardening. Has been shown for individuals with dementia and cognitive decline to slow down that decline. Let's talk about biophilic design. My daughter, who's listening and helping me out with this right now, is in interior design and school, and she very much would agree that when you bring nature inside, there's a certain amount of pleasing ability to our eyes and to our senses. So even if you can't be outside all the time, how do you bring the outside inside? It's called biophilic design. This is a fancy term of just saying, have some plants in your house. Bring in more natural sunlight. Use materials that are from the outside, woods and stones and those kinds of textures. Water, wonderful, right? I mean, waterfall. Who doesn't just love the here running water? Who doesn't just like to stare at a lake or a pond? There are reasons for this because they are part of our internal makeup. They're who we are. Moss walls, things like that. Amazing, biophilic. What's the research say about that? Studies have shown that simply being around plants can lower blood pressure. Just simply being around them and perceived anxiety. It improves focus and productivity. Indoor plants improve attention span and reduce error rates in the office. The recovery really in the clinical settings as well. Hospitals, when they start to incorporate this biophilic designs into the hospitals or into healing environments, there's absolutely less pain medication needed. People recover faster. So healing comes from within us, and we have to utilize these things. It's wild that it's such a sterile thing that we have involved in when we think about healing in hospitals. For reasons it should be sterile, but that we've completely got rid of nature is just crazy. The nature-based mindfulness. Mindfulness is ultimately you just trying to still your mind, trying to just pay attention to the moments, your breath, the air, sounds, just quieting your mind. But when you can do that out in nature, it's like a 2 + 2 = 3. You are really maximizing all the bioenergetic information you're getting outside, all these things we just learned that you can get from being outside and around plants, and you're saying, I'm going to double down and I'm going to now be mindful out there. So just sitting in the park, close your eyes for a moment, just listen to the birds. If you've had the chance to sit by the ocean with your eyes closed and really no one else around, unbelievable. There's amazing healing with all of these things. Just listening to the rain. I mean, why is nature sounds part of my app to go to bed? Because they're healing. They're real. The research would show that again, your parasympathetic system's increased or your sympathetic is decreased. Just even imagining a natural environment can lower your heart rate. You know, if you just say, if you've ever been on a brain tap, there's a lot of visualization. That guy takes you through a forest almost every time, or to a beach, or you're somewhere, and just imagining you sitting somewhere underneath a palm tree or in the forest on a stump, and like watching the brook roll by can calm your mind. It's amazing. Emotional regulation is supported when you're out in nature. The activities, when you are just trying to tie in the visualization to all this, is going to really decrease anxiety ultimately for our bodies. Hey, get out in nature. Be mindful. Sometimes the most productive thing that you can do is to go outside and do nothing but enjoy nature. We like to try to stay so busy and do so much. And I love that my patients are working on their yard. At least you're out there. You are doing the good things. But there might be a moment that you just sit there. Once you've thrown another bag of mulch and you're tired of that one, just sit on the grass for a second. Lay there. See if the neighbors call the EMS or something. But, just be part of it, right? Just be part of it. Just enjoy. Slow down. So how do we start to incorporate some of these things into nature? Of course, wake up in the morning and try to get outside. If you can do that, you're really starting a day off right. We're going to talk about a couple of those simple things, but this is how you can develop a routine without really any work right now. If you have 0 plants in the house, one of these will say you have to go buy a plant, all right? You have to get one. You can probably find any little plant somewhere that won't die easily. Buy a succulent, at least have that. First thing in the morning, if you can, right now you should be able to, it's still a little chilly. You can definitely do this for a couple minutes. Take off your socks, get in the grass. Step outside for 5 minutes. If you can get barefoot, do it. This will reset your nervous system for the day. You're going to reboot. Breathe in that morning air. Let your feet touch the earth. Maybe if nothing else, try not to be in full shoes. Just something that would be more in touch with the ground, okay? Get a plant. Yes, you need a desk plant. A small plant on your desk or on your windowsill. Some small plant that you see every day. Take a moment each afternoon to water it, to prune its dead leaves, just to observe it closely. Treat it, one of your mindful practices, but take care of it. Just take care of it. This will slow down your mind to focus on something other than whatever your conscious mind's trying to do. So have that plant. We call that a pattern interrupt. When you see that plant, you take care of that. That's what it is. Very simply, you have a pattern to take care of it. Move with the elements. Yes, this is when you can just get outside and exercise. Even 10 minutes, stretch, walk. At some point in your day, get outside and move with the elements. Let weather be part of your routine. Yep, even if it's snowing. Fresh air is powerful medicine, especially combined with movement. Bring nature indoors. Find small ways to, bring more nature into your indoor spaces. Of course, you can open windows. If you have allergies and things, it's definitely trickier. But there's a balance here between being in nature and some of the challenges we get from nature. But at least decorate with some more natural woods and stone and flowers. They could be dried flowers. Use essential oils in your house. Brings you outside, inside. Those are great little tips. That nature routine is so important. So choose one simple thing to do each day that reconnects you with nature. Maybe you won't do this full routine, but one day you'll go outside and walk. Maybe one day you'll ground with your feet. You got that plant inside. Start getting some essential oils around. End your day with some slow breaths outside. Start the day outside, end the day outside. Listen to nature sounds if you want while you're inside. If you are able to be in nature, your body has a chance to just be observed. And that observation really stimulates your brain more than you could imagine. Again, nature is the best therapy for our minds. in our bodies. So get out there, be calm, relax. We've had a lot of these downloadables lately, but all the stuff we just went over, ways to kind of get outside and make nature part of your day, we've got that downloadable. So remember, these are things we want you to share with others too. Please, my gosh, share them. Take someone outside with you. At this workshop, if anyone wants the resources, just let me know. They're all right here. I didn't make this up. This is all what the research says about being out in nature. Okay? All right. Have a good night. Get outside.